It is the most unforgiving place on Earth. Over 3.5 million square miles. A vast wilderness. It is the Sahara Desert, with people and cultures as unpredictable as the landscape.
Running 50 miles a day, it's the challenge, it's going the distance, it's just pushing myself to my limits.
It's never been done. No one's ever run that far in that period of time.
That will be tough. It's a mental thing, I think.
Imagine running 50 miles per day for more than 100 days. In an unprecedented personal challenge, 3 ultra runners, good friends, test physical strength and mental toughness, running across the entire Sahara Desert.
They're such high-end athletes. They're used to pushing themselves, but they're going to be pushing their bodies more than they ever have in the past.
We've had injury, we've had sickness.
Sorry, dude.
The best thing to do would be to stop for the day, but we have to cover some miles today.
Any Americans found there without proper paperwork are going to be considered spies, liable to execution.
You're going to have to make the best decision for us as a team.
It's so difficult for me because the personalities are so different.
I don't want to push us into the ground, obviously, but I'll push us damn close.
This is, a lot tougher than you could have ever thought.
You can do this. You don't want to quit. It's okay.
We saw a young boy, 7 or 8 years old, in the desert alone, fending for himself while his dad was a 2 days walk away to get water. That's the water situation. I mean, it's so much bigger an issue than I would have ever thought.
Narrated by executive producer Matt Damon and directed by James Mall, a personal and compelling journey into the world's most mysterious wilderness.
The purpose of the 3 of us coming here was to learn more about each other, to learn about the people of the Sahara, and to do something that hasn't been done before.
They all 3 agreed that if one runner went down, they would be out of the expedition.
I thought your commitment was different than that.
When is the end?
The end is when we get to Cairo.
When Africa is one, and we sing this song, show me the way home. Oh, hi, show me the way home. It don't hurt no more.
It will be a life-changing experience, and not just for the 3 runners, for everybody who's along on this journey.
November 1st, 2006, my 2 best friends and I set out on a journey that people said was not possible. We ran across the entire Sahara Desert, 4,500 miles through 6 countries, from the west coast of Africa to the east coast. That's like running twice across the United States at its narrowest point in the sand the entire time, and it's like 1 billion degrees, right? Some facts about this expedition, because it sounds ridiculous, and I guess in some ways it was. 4,500 miles over 111 days. You do the math, that's 40 miles a day. 5 immediate support crew out there helping us along our way. One of the most difficult parts of this expedition was the fact that we had 2 showers the entire time we were out there. So I promise you we were the funkiest runners on the planet. But it's a good thing in a sandstorm because you are not going to get lost. Your crew will always smell you even if they can't see you, right? But I talk about these statistics and I talk about this journey, and trust me, I've got a million slides about this amazing experience that we had, but this 111 days of running across the Sahara was more than a documentary film. It was more than the greatest endurance experience that either 3 of us probably would ever had. It was a learning experience. We learned things about life in North Africa that we otherwise would have never have had the opportunity to from this 111 days we spent with the Tuareg, the people of Northern Sahara. We learned that in Northern Africa, clean drinking water, clean, crystal clear drinking water is a very precious resource, something not to be taken for granted. Young people are the strongest in the communities, and sometimes they spend hours walking to bring clean drinking water to their families. This was mind-blowing for me, and it caused an evolution to the reason why we were running in this expedition. We finished this expedition 111 days after we started. I started the expedition at 162 pounds, finished at 119 pounds. It was notoriously difficult. But I learned something incredible about myself when I put my hands into the Red Sea. That this guy, who at 37 years of age ran across the continent of Africa, quit smoking 7 years before putting his hands in the water on this day, started running just a few years before putting my hands in the water that day. It said to me that I wasn't capable of greatness, that we as human beings are capable of greatness. We totally underestimate what we're capable of doing. These two things that I learned, that our world has issues that I never would have thought had I not experienced this adventure, and that here I am experiencing it because I dared to try. I said to my wife when we finished this expedition, I said, you know, babe, we need to do something with this. When I was 15 years old, I was the kid in gym class who was picked last. I was the kid that barely got out of high school and definitely didn't finish college. But here I was doing this. We needed to do something to share with young people, this generation today, that in fact, you don't got to wait until you're 37, until you're 40 to figure out that you have the entire world in the palm of your hands. You are capable of anything. We decided that we would share adventures. We would create stories, backdrops to pertinent social and environmental issues all over the world. We would educate, inspire, and empower our youth through these adventures with this organization that we created. We enlisted the help of great people, educational leaders, teachers, doctors, researchers to help create content. And we headed to the South Pole. This time we were going to talk about our changing climate, but not the climate change debate, how we adapt to this changing planet. And let's go to the South Pole, because this is the best place to talk about it, right? 33 days, 23 hours, and 55 minutes to a new world record for unsupported travel to the South Pole. We arrived after dragging 175-pound sleds with everything that we needed to survive contained within those sleds. Not only that, though, communications equipment as part of that stuff that was in that sled. Communications equipment so that we would be able to share the expedition, the educational content, how we felt day to day with thousands of our teammates in classrooms all over North America and the world. Our teammates that were helping us day to day by participating and asking us questions while we were out there. We were answering those questions using technology in ways that it wasn't intended to be used. But here we were, bringing a classroom onto the adventure whilst the adventure was in the classroom. It was inspiring for us, and we credit our teammates for that world record. But we wanted to take things up a notch, and we decided the best way to do that was not to have Ray out on an adventure, running across the desert or trekking to the South Pole, but to bring their peers out there. 16, 17, 18, 19 years, bring young explorers out on an expedition, experience things that I learned about myself for real, in real time, in running the Sahara, and share that with the world, share that with their peers. We took a group of 5 incredible young adventurers to Canada's Arctic. And they trekked, regular kids, trekked carrying all of their gear, 65 pounds on their back. This time we talked about how our world is changing and how it is affecting the people, the Inuit who live in northern Canada. How are they adapting to our changing planet? This was the topic of discussion, and rich educational modules were created. These videos that you see and photographs were uploaded daily, sharing the experience of this arduous trek and how they were making their way across this incredible terrain. Incredible, difficult to walk across, but visually stunning as well. Every picture tells a story, and you look at these. I saw some amazing photographs in the first presentation today, for young people to actually be there and stand in these amazing places on the planet and be able to look across a camera and say to a 17-year-old on the other end or a 10-year-old, I'm here and I'm doing this. I'm here and I'm experiencing this. We brought the classroom out there with us. This is Dr. Ewan Affleck from the Yellowknife Northwest Territories. He's our educational director. And it's funny, it's one of those funny things, you know, you're 17 years old and you think you're out of class for the 2 weeks you're on an expedition. No, because we bring the classroom outside. And we share, again, using technology, the curriculum that's ongoing, the experiences, creating content for schools that they can use. In this video, what you see in this photograph here, I'm uploading a little piece of video and some photographs. I have an Iridium satellite phone. We use some marine software. We made it with a modem. Boom, Bob's your uncle. We're in the classrooms. It was amazing. I have geniuses on my team that constantly pull their hair out because I come up with these wacky ideas on how I want to communicate. And they're like, that can't be done. But they always find a way to share the stories. I think the most potent part of what we were doing and what we were learning on this journey to creating this organization and bringing this into the classroom, we didn't realize until we got to the end of this expedition how much it affected our youth ambassadors. How much it affected these 5 to do this incredible thing, put their hands around that Inukshuk that said, you're at the Arctic Circle, and they achieved this thing. It wasn't Ray, it was them. That feeling was translated so clearly to the students in the classrooms. We were having teachers coming back to us saying, what's next? Because I have never had my students come to me and say, can we please do this again next year? Learning was becoming fun. Sky's the limit. Let's let our kids want to learn again. Let's make learning fun. Let's make education fun. And that's what was happening here. We wanted to tackle an issue that was in the foundation of our beginnings, and that was water. April 2010, once again, 4 youth ambassadors, just months ago, these young ambassadors, these young explorers that you see here, ran a marathon per day across Tunisia, all in an effort to raise awareness for water issues in Africa. Marathon a day, sharing their experiences every step of the way, this time using video conferencing. I'm talking to you, and the way this amazing technology we have today, that's sharing our presentations across the internet, we were trying to recreate that feeling, everything we have here, within the classroom. Thousands of students, 8,700 students, rallied together in this experiential learning program to talk about water. They were downloading those modules that our amazing I2P team had written about water, everything you can think of. You know, human physiology, we had one on human physiology and water. It was called A Bag of Water, how our bodies are composed mostly of water. You know, we had the economics of water. We had all of this amazing content. We challenged students, as a matter of fact, our youth ambassadors that were running across Tunisia, challenged them. They said, okay, you've been inspired because we're running a marathon a day, and we're your peers. You've been educated about water. The content is there. We keep adding more, and you keep learning. Now it's time to be empowered. Get out there, fundraise. Let's build some wells. 8,700 kids rallied together in a social entrepreneurial way, many of them to raise the money in unique and interesting ways so that water projects could be built in Africa. One of those water projects in Uganda has been completed. What are we in, October? This was April. That's not that long ago. They had brought clean drinking water to people halfway around the world that they will probably never meet. That is true giving, you know? To be able to share the experiences of what it's like in the Sahara and learn from others, the people of the Northern Sahara, once again, how precious water was, and be able to communicate that across thousands of miles, sharing every day what it's like to be there, to experience it. Well, this is an amazing photograph. See that yellow device right there? So every step they take is logged on the live interactive website that we create, basically a portal to the expedition, a two-way street of communication. Everything that our youth ambassadors do is tracked, every step they take. You can go onto the website during an expedition, a student, a teacher, for free, but everything is free, and use this content. Take videos, follow on the map, see where everybody is, how far are they getting, how many dunes did they run through today. The potency of being able to take a laptop at the end of a day and say, when you're 17 years old, hey, check this out. Behind me, I ran through those sand dunes today. I mean, you can't put a price on that. It really was becoming an incredible experience for our youth ambassadors, but of course for us as well as leaders on this expedition, to see this whole panorama, this whole story be told by them, not by us. Now, we talk about the difficulties of course, running in the desert. I told you how difficult running the Sahara was. But to see the looks on their faces and the perseverance of a 16 or a 17-year-old who's running a marathon a day, that's credible to a student in the classroom. That's saying, that is someone I can relate to. Even more, we were taking the content. Our youth ambassadors would do video journals with flip cams every single day, and we'd take that content. We would edit it while we were out there. We would upload it to CNN. Every second or third day, they would broadcast the story of these youth ambassadors. Again, amazing role models. Finally, an amazing role model for someone that age. You know, in their words, I'd like to show you something. Have a look.
Oasis here in the middle of the desert. In a well.
And this is the stuff. This is what we're talking about. This is exactly what Ryan's Well Foundation and what Giving Water Foundation. That's what we're trying to raise money for. This is a well. This is the stuff.
This is what it's all about. This oasis here. There's some people you can see with water jugs over there. I don't know how far they come to get this water, but this is just incredible, this oasis. And I mean,
you know, it's amazing. I started out at the end of the Running the Sahara when I was talking about it. I said, you know, we totally underestimate ourselves as human beings to what we're capable of doing. We're our own worst enemies, you know. We totally underestimate our youth. I believe that in a lot of ways. And I think if we give young people the resources, if we give teachers the tools, the things that they need, We can take a generation of young people. Wow, I see it. I see it on their faces. I see it in these expeditions. I see in the results of these expeditions, the classrooms, the thousands of students following along. I see greatness. I see greatness in this generation of young people that we're connecting to. You know, provided with the right resources and the right tools, there is nothing that this young generation cannot do. Provided with the right resources and the right tools, this generation of young people, I believe, will be freed from all boundaries. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. Thank you.